a man and his 3 sons lived in a small town. This man owned a large cocoa plantation. Although he had a lot of laborers, he insisted on his sons' involvement in the day-to-day running of the business. As time went by, the cocoa farmer noticed that somebody was stealing from his warehouse. The thief was clever and only came at night. Each time he came, he stole something different: an expensive tractor part, money, part of the harvest, or anything equally devastating. The man called his sons and laborers and pleaded for the thief to own up, but of course, everyone claimed to be innocent. He pondered over it and devised a plan to expose the culprit. One night, the thief went about his usual business, oblivious to the ambush. As he pushed the door to the warehouse open with his right hand, it was stuck. Surprised, he pushed with his left hand, exerting more force, and it stuck. Now alarmed, he struggled frantically, but he couldn't get away. In the course of the struggle, both his legs were glued to the door and he remained there, shivering till dawn. That morning, everyone gathered to see the farmer's last son stuck to the door on all fours. He was a spiteful and mean boy who treated people with disregard and contempt. Many never liked him anyway. They praised his father for the wisdom and tact he had applied to catch the actual thief. Perhaps, we have all seen or heard different versions of this story, particularly in our high school English textbooks or storybooks. In their varied narrations, the lesson remains the same. No matter how clever his methods, or how efficient he is in hiding his wickedness, an evildoer will be exposed. The certainty of this conviction is as sure as the rising of the sun from the east. You must have heard it said that 99 days is for the thief and 1 day is for the owner. That is very much the truth. Someone has humorously asserted that every day is for the thief. He must have forgotten that someday is another's day. What secrets do people hide? A friend spreading ugly tales about the unsuspecting friend? Or a dubious man scheming against his brother to kill him so that he can take his properties, unmoved by the helplessness of the deceased's wife and children? The Bible did not mince words in calling such people wolves in sheep's clothing, exploiting and betraying the very people whose interests they should have at heart. And what about those who are totally shameless, arrogant, and proud in their wrongdoing? Like the church in Corinth when Apostle Paul wrote to them in 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 1-2. Perhaps a government official looting public funds, rigging elections, and hijacking contracts? Or an unnecessarily brutal policeman who feels he is above the law? Or maybe even a boss or coworker blaming someone else for his own crimes? Whatever the deceit or backup involved, God sees all. God knows. He is the silent listener to every conversation. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. One of the things that light does is that it exposes darkness. Now, because God dwells in light, there is no way he will delight in concealing works of darkness. That is contrary to his nature. This should inform our confidence that whatever evil anyone or anything anyone is plotting against us will be exposed by God. In the face of danger and difficulty, it is very easy to despair and become disappointed. As the enemies are plotting all manner of evil against you, you may want to think that God has forgotten you. You must never think like that. Instead, when the evil ones surround you, call out to God and he will surely expose your enemies. Do not remain quiet and die in silence. Evil men are very crafty. They hardly look like who they really are on the outside. They put up a facade. They tend to act as if they care about you or are genuinely excited about your progress. They hug you with a smile on their face and a dagger in their gloves to stab you at the back. If you are not careful, you can easily be swayed by their false sweetness. The Bible describes them with these words in 2 Corinthians 11 verses 13 to 15. These people are false apostles. They are deceitful workers who disguise themselves as apostles of Christ. But I am not surprised. Even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So, it is no wonder that his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. In the end, they will get the punishment their wicked deeds deserve. New Living Translation. Whatever the disguise, we are confident that God will expose them. If we can be deceived, then God cannot be mocked. We can fall for the disguise, but God will never fall for it. While men look at the physical, God looks at the inside, the heart. If the body can lie, the heart never does. It reveals the intents of man and the motivations for his actions. Exposure insinuates nakedness, and nakedness insinuates shame. Nobody likes to be naked before others, and that is why Adam and Eve ran and hid before God. God has no tolerance for wicked people. Just in case you have committed a crime, swept it under the carpet and are secretly hoping that time will keep it buried forever, remember, God exposes. The exposing inclinations of God does not excuse or exonerate you. Mind you, there is no partiality with him. Like the farmer in the story, and even more so, God's ways are not conventional or predictable. In fact, they are not known to man. He knows just how to disgrace the enterprises of the wicked, and we just have to trust his judgment. From age to age, he has proven himself as fair and always right. Sometimes his justice does not come as quickly as we want it, but one thing is sure, God exposes evil. Some people take this for granted, and in their ignorance, they utter gross profanities, doubting and mocking those they have violated, solidly believing that their day of reckoning will not come. In Galatians 6 verse 7, the Word of God says, "Do not be deceived, God is not mocked, he will not allow himself to be ridiculed, nor treated with contempt, nor allow his precepts to be scornfully set aside. For whatever a man sows, this and this only is what he will reap." Amplified Bible. Finally, one thing is sure, as long as we are alive on this earth, evil men will always be around plotting and scheming. But we must never give them the benefit of triumph by being scared of them. We have God on our side. He will not watch our enemies get an unfair advantage over us. Many times, he will just allow them to keep planning, and just at the point of execution, he will expose and frustrate their plan. So do not fear and do not be worried. God is in control.